Hi, this is Sean with Chiha Information Technology Services, and I have this laptop. This is a ASUS GL502VT laptop, and the issue that we are having with this laptop is this USB port right here does not work. This one does, but this one does not. And I think I can see the reason why. As you can see, this one right here, these four raised pins right here, these ones, those four right there, are not raised over here. Now, these four pins are used on a standard USB stick to set up the initial connection. In fact, if I take this USB cable right here, you can see it's got those four contacts right there. It's not exactly in focus. There we go. There we go. It's got those four contacts right there. And those four contacts would be rubbing against the four contacts on this one on the left, but on this one on the right, there would be no connection at all. So what I have to do is I have to take this pick right here, and I have to very carefully lift these pins back up, and after doing that, I have to see if actually lifting them up is actually working. So, first thing I do, make sure I can get a good sight line on this thing, and it is very difficult to get a good sight line on this. Okay. That's the reason why I've got this pair of tweezers right here. As I've established, it's the one on the left has those pins raised up, the one on the right have them smashed down. So I'm going to go ahead and lift those pins on the one on the right using the method I've just described of hooking this pick underneath the pins and gently lifting them up. I'll pause the video right now. Now, as you can see here, we're back, and I've managed to lift the pins on this port right here so that it looks a little bit more like this port right here. This port right here is, I think, permanently bent that way, because what happened, whether it was a USB cable or a USB drive, what have you, doesn't really make much difference. It was dropped with a USB device of some sort inserted into the thing. It ended up smashing the pins in, and as a result, since then it has not worked. We're going to go ahead and put the cover back on this one, and then we're going to test the USB port. Okay, I was going to put the cover right back on, but I noticed this. Before I go ahead and button this thing up, I'm going to need to clean off this fan and this fan right here. As you can see, they've accumulated a significant amount of dust over the years, so we're going to need to clean those out. Now, the one thing that you're going to want to do before cleaning out any fans of any sort on one of these is to just be mindful of where the power is coming from. So this right here is the power cable going to the fan right here. Right there. That's the power cable going to the fan. You're going to want to disconnect that, and you're going to want to disconnect both of the fans. And once you're done, then you're going to want to reconnect the fans. The reason you do this is to prevent backfeed of power. If you know anything about electrical motors, the way electrical motors work is that they work in two different ways. They're extremely efficient as, well, electrical motors, and they're significantly less efficient at being electrical generators. Ooh, that's a warning right there. Do not spray these things at an angle like that. Now, most people would advise you to not do that, not allow the fan to spin. And they're right. You really shouldn't. Not even if it's disconnected the way this one is. It's not perfect, but it got most of the job done. The fans look cleaner than they have in a while. So we're going to just take this, plug it back in, do the same over here, plug it back in, and now we can start buttoning this thing up. It is my hope at this point that this is going to end up being the last video I make on this laptop. We've just put a flash drive in the port on the right. In fact, let me tilt the camera down. And actually, wait, that's not the port we fixed. The port we fixed was this one. And I can tell it's the one we fixed because that thing's bending up slightly. This one right here is normal. This one's bent up slightly, which, I don't know, I think it should be fine. So, let's turn the system on, hit the escape key so it gives me the boot menu. I think it worked. As you can see, the flash drive's blinking. And this is, in fact, the port which I had determined was dead or damaged. And now it appears to be working just fine. What we're going to do now is we're going to shut down the system. And we're going to move it to the known good USB port, this one right here, just to show no playing around. See? Still the same. And if you're wondering if there's anything attached to the USB port on this side of the thing, if you're suspecting that, sorry to say, but nope, nothing. The only USB port that is currently plugged in is this one, and was this one earlier. So this tells me that that USB port is now up and running. I thought this was going to be a soldering job, if I'm going to be honest. But the fact of the matter is that it was not a soldering job. It ended up just being we've got some pins that we need to bend back up sort of job. As you can see, the USB port is, this USB port right here is now working again. This USB port was working already, as were this USB port and this USB-C port over here on that side. So yes, it would appear that this particular system is back up and running with the USB ports all enabled. This is just fantastic. So we will shut down again, and that is all for this video. All it really took was a pick to lift up the pins, and USB ports operational again. Nice.